So whether you're looking to go to market or scale your revenue with the military, there are a lot of opportunities that are coming up over the next couple of months. So in this video, I wanted to sketch out, kind of whiteboard, what are the different opportunities, hit some of the kind of essential facts and timelines and dollar amounts about them, and talk through what does the next couple of months look like. So per usual, we're going to start with our choo-choo train framework. If you're going to market, that's the traction stage. We're trying to go and drive that initial revenue, find that customer market fit. If we're moving on up, we've got a couple million in revenue. We're really in the momentum stage. And then scale is really what we consider being included or part of that program of record. So what that means is that you're actually budgeted for, again, going through the big congressional planning, programming, budgeting, execution, PPP and E cycles. So you can count on like pretty big amounts of revenue coming year over year as they go through those budgeting cycles. So that's what we consider hitting scale. And then there's more beyond this diagram, this graphic, but more to come on that. So first and foremost, let's hit on traction and what's going on right now and over the next couple of months to pay attention to. So this is, again, tech startups, if they're looking to go to market and drive that initial revenue, looking for some additional funding pathways, just get a little bit more of that traction. So first and foremost is the direct to phase 2. So this is ongoing, the time of the recording. Closely is on June 5th, about $1.25 million. Now, the thing is, unless you had already started doing outreach in the Air Force and Space Force, and these are run by AFWERX and SpaceWorks respectively, unless you've already started doing that outreach and you're working on getting that customer memorandum, basically a signed work plan that goes through what you're going to spend the $1.25 million on. Unless you've already started that, this one's really probably out of the question. What else to look at is the Air Force specific topics. Now, with the specific topics, especially broader Department of Defense, there's a lot that are already ongoing. We're getting kind of late in the cycle for a lot of them. There are quite a few that are coming out at the beginning, like first Wednesday of every month. So you can be on the lookout for that. The Air Force, had a little bit of a mix-up. A very nice way to put it. A few weeks ago, dropped out of the round, they re-released. So again, there are, at the time of this recording, a couple more weeks to leverage that pre-release period and talk to the technical point of contact. That's super important if you're interested in submitting to the specific topics. So quite a few topics out right now. Anywhere phase 1s, some are direct to phase 2s, so anywhere from a few 100,000 to close to 2 million. So those are going on right now. Coming up in August, there's going to be, so let's put August, let's put sewers. So there's another pretty big round coming out in the August timeframe. This is when all the Department of Defense plays. We'll see a lot more from the Air Force, Navy, Army at that point. So that's one of the other cycles coming up. Now, what I think is going to be super interesting is this manufacturing challenge. Oh, I've done this before, I promise. So with the manufacturing challenge, there's not a whole lot of information out yet, but I want to talk about some of the things that we've heard so far. So first, as far as some of the technology areas, again, not a whole lot, but it sounds like there may be some interest related to core components. So anything going into major aerospace systems, also system integration related to batteries and other subsystems. So hopefully we'll learn more soon. What I think is interesting, again, from what we've heard so far, is that they are looking to follow kind of that challenge model. Again, the Army, if you're familiar with X-Tech, they've been doing this for years. So Air Force has done a lot of challenges over the years, a lot of hit and miss, mostly miss, in my opinion. In this case, it sounds like they're planning on doing a lot of SBIR dollars to back up, like once you get through a couple of these wins and go through the stages of the challenge, then there's actually SBIR dollars, phase 1s or 2s, we'll see on the back end. So the Army's done this a couple times. The problem is the Army's, putting out open topics for howitzers and things like that, not very open. This seems to be a bit more broad, related to manufacturing technology, and it sounds like they're putting a lot of funding behind it. So definitely something to pay attention to. Things we've seen SpaceWorks do well that hopefully AFWERX has taken the last many months, they've been talking about this to do, is having a program office. So again, that's more on the scale side. Having that program office lined up and have that interest and maybe follow-on funding as well. But that's enough about traction. That's the initial, some of the initial entry points. And I'll hit one more. So we did talk about X-Tech. So on that note, there is an open topic that was just released a couple days ago. Quick turn though, due June 4th, I believe, 3 pages. So not a huge lift. That again follows that challenge process. And this is actually an open topic from the Army. So Army's one to keep an eye on. We're pretty surprised at this point to finally see something that looks like an open topic. There are 60 companies that will be selected for the initial prize money. It's only 5,000, but then that goes to 25,000 for 24 companies, and most of those should be able to get a phase one afterwards based on everything they're kind of putting out right now. So actually open. They've put out a ton of great technology areas on the X-Tech Army website, and so that could be another great front door. Okay, so momentum. Let's hit on some of the bigger funding amounts. So at the time of this recording, I'll jump ahead a little bit. So as of today, APFIT has been released. Now, APFIT is your high technology readiness levels. So you're like TRL 8, $10 million minimum, up to 50 million. We've really seen around like 20 million being the max so far, but they can go up to 50 million. But accelerate the procurement and fielding of innovative technologies, APFIT. This program is run by the Office of Undersecretary of Defense, Research and Engineering, OUSD, R&E. My goodness, all the acronym soup here. But point being, if you've got those relationships established with the program office, or you're getting that really strong demand signal from the combatant commands and have that mature technology, this is a great way to actually step into the programs of record up here at the scale size. So let's put POR. So this is a great entry point here to actually get into this program of record. So it requires like partnering with a program manager. Like there's a lot of internal submissions and documentations and things like that that are part of this package. So it's just because of the budget requirements, because of the people and relationships you have to have, this is really meant to be that funding gap over the next couple of years as you step into that program of record. So really exciting, open today. Some initial deadlines, I think on the combatant command side will likely close in July, and then August for everyone else. This does vary based on the component or branch that is submitting. They have their own internal deadlines, so more to come on that. But something to be aware of, there are deadlines across the different branches that are totally different. What we also expect to see soon, probably in the July timeframe, is StratFi. So again, a lot of people are excited and interested in going after StratFi. However, what most people don't realize is just how much work you need to be doing up front. So you need a general level signature or an SES. So as a civilian, that's a general equivalent at the Program Executive Office, PEO. So for that funding up to 15 million, there's a lot of relationships you need to get in place now and have those relationships with the program offices and make sure they're ready, because last year they only gave us 4 weeks and I think they extended it to about 6 weeks. So not a lot of time to run documentation all the way up for signature to a general level. So really squeeze timelines. You've got to be started now if you want to be ready for that later. There's also this component of where you're matching funds year over year. Again, the big misunderstanding I see StratFi is people think like, oh, I have to have the matching ready to go at time of award. No, that is TACFI, not StratFi. StratFi, you have up to 4 years after, so you can go backwards a little bit at time of submission and forward up to 4 years. So there's a very big window where if you're getting 2, 3, 5 million a year and you think maybe it will increase, anyways, like there's a lot of ways to make that matching really add up to 15 million over the years. Another program is Catalyst. So this is from the Army. So Army Cyber Catalyst opened in November. From everything we've heard, it's still rolling. They may close it. We just don't know the timeline of when they do. It just depends on the submissions, quite frankly. But this is up to 7.5 million in cyber matching funds. What's really unique and special about Catalyst is it's similar to StratFi, like an APFIT and some of the program office relationships you need to have. Again, it's a great way to start stepping into those budgeting, program of record, palming type conversations. So love it for those reasons. But what's really unique about Catalyst, different from StratFi and TACFi, is that you don't need a phase 1 or 2. If you have a phase 1, you can go to a phase 2. If you have a phase 2, you can do an enhancement or sequential. That's gibberish. Just know you can add money. It's great. So all that to say is Catalyst is still open. Army is still taking submissions. You have to have those program office relationships. Still quite a bit of funding there to help, again, bridge this gap between we've got the customer, we've got the program office, but like money's not budgeted and coming for another couple of years. Well, this is a great program to kind of fill that gap. Other one I think is worth mentioning. So RPP, Rapid Prototyping Program. This one's a little bit similar to AppFit, but a lower technology readiness level, a little bit smaller, but still several $1 million over a couple of years. Now, this did recently close. This is not official, so hot off the press or hot take, whatever you want to call it. For RPP, we do expect to see another round, potentially closing in the August timeframe. So you missed the most recent one. This is another great opportunity for several $1 million a year. Again, lower technology readiness level. Great way to build relationships with OUSD and program offices. So something to be on the lookout for. We'll do some more videos if we actually see that get opened up for additional submissions. Some other things to mention. So fallout funding, and I'll put congressional ads here. So fallout funding, again, our opinion is like you should have started this process preferably a couple months ago. Most folks are going through the bureaucratic paperwork process to request this funding. And both for this and congressional ads, like same talking point here, like what is really important. Let me hit congressional ads and I'll talk about like setting up a contract vehicle. So congressional ads, again, starting to get to the tail end of that cycle to get money added into the appropriations. Obviously, a lot of craziness going on with the continuing resolution. Anyways, I won't get into all that. But let's say you get $5 million as a congressional ad. What we've seen over and over again, and what people don't understand is like, great, the money comes out and then it finally shows up, next year sometime. Then begin the 12-month or more contracting process to actually put it on contract. And by the way, that contracting officer is told over and over again, he's got people looking over his shoulder. He's trained, they're trained on how, on competing these requirements. So what you want to do, the key here, the pro tip is like you need to have a contract in place that can have that ceiling, that already has that contract ceiling. So let's break that down. So a contract ceiling is, let's say I get $1 million from a customer. Well, that's what's obligated. That's the money that's put on contract and that you can invoice against. But you can ask and, through the different processes, push to a 10 million, 50, $100 million ceiling. So that means as they get additional funding, they can put that money on that contract. And then instead of doing that 12-month process or more all over again, it could take a couple of weeks. Because you've done a lot of the authorizations and approvals and all of that in the first place. So that's the key here for like fallout funding and congressional ads is actually having a contract vehicle already in place. So if you get a $5 million ad, you get a $20 million ad, you get some fallout funding from these different bases. Things, you didn't work the process, but towards September, like craziness starts and some money comes available. No one's going to cut a contract that fast, but if you already have one set up, they can just put the money there. So I've drawn on about that a little bit, but that's super important. It's a huge key to actually hitting scale within the Department of Defense is having a place to put your money. So the money shows up, you're not doing a 12 to 18 month process and they're trying to compete it and give it to someone else. Just a mess. Okay. Anyways, so those are a lot of the different momentum funding programs that are coming out over the next couple of months. And we do expect another TACFI round. So if you have a phase 2, doesn't matter the branch or even the which agency, federal agency, if you have a phase 2 SBIR, TACFI and STRATFI could be an option for you. So we do expect TACFI later in the fall. I'll put that here until we get a little closer and have some more specific dates. So again, overall, hope you found this helpful. That's a quick overview. So many different things going on, so many things that I don't have time to get into in this video. They're ongoing. So if you found that helpful, please share with someone else that you think would benefit from it. Otherwise, thanks for watching.